welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about how I shot the G-Shock watch commercial. This will all be explained. Let's get it. And welcome back. Did you guys enjoy that video? Well, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of G-Shock watches, and thankfully G-Shock Canada sent me and Kirk Lepiton a couple of the watches to do product photography and make a commercial ad for them. So two of my friends gathered in my studio to shoot this commercial ad for the G-Shock watch. Despite all the watches that G-Shock sent me, I specifically wanted to shoot the GA21 model because this is my favorite, but I could not find it anywhere. Even G-Shock Canada, they were out of stock and they couldn't send me any. But my dear friend on Instagram, Travel Home Dad, please like and follow his page. He has a lot of collections of the watches and, you know, he's a great guy. Thanks, man. I asked a couple of you guys to give me some questions for this commercial ad, and I'll be going through them. Some of the questions were overlapping one another, so I just chose a couple of them. And yeah, so let's go through them together. So the first question comes from Josh, and he asked, how did you come up with the idea? So obviously I wanted to match the branding direction that G-Shock is taking with their watches. And if you look at their commercials and all of their commercial, the tagline, the branding tagline for the watch they're going with is absolute toughness. So I decided to go to Walmart to buy some props for this commercial ad, and I didn't even know what I was gonna buy. I wanted to buy anything that brought texture and, you know, anything that represents that absolute toughness of the watch. So when I entered Walmart, that's when the idea started to come together. I was in the gardening section and I saw these soil wood pallets, which I did not use. I ended up using the wood pallets as a sandbag for most of the stands. And I had some charcoal laying around from the summer barbecue, so I used charcoal and soil to bring that texture. But when I saw the soil, I was thinking, man, we should make like a graveyard of all these watches or non-branded watches. However, I couldn't find a single watch that didn't have any branding, and I also did not want to misrepresent certain brands. So I was trying to find a non-branded clock or watch, and it happens to be in one of the aisle, they had these non-branded clocks. There were big ones and the small ones, so when I saw these, I was thinking, man, I can have a blast smashing these and breaking it apart, hammering into pieces and taking off the dial and to create that graveyard full of clocks. However, in all those harsh conditions, G-Shock will be the only one that survived. So that's how I got the idea. And the next question is from Zarian Shahzad. I hope I pronounced that right. He asked, how many clocks were harmed in the making of the ad? So I bought 2 of the big ones and 10 of the small ones. Obviously this one survived and I did not break it. I decided to keep it for my office here. So 11 of the clocks were harmed making this ad. So the next question is, Consume to Create asked, how do you stay authentic to both your style and a brand's style when developing a specialized ad? That is a really, really good question. So obviously if there's an ad, it's an investment that the brands are going for. And with this investment, they're looking to bring profit. So it is, I think in most of the cases, it's right to follow the brand style more or follow the branding direction. A lot of the brands have their own in-house photographers or, you know, cinematographers working on their brand products. But some cases, the brand will specifically reach a certain content creator or an influencer or a cinematographer because they really like their style. And one of the first reasons why that brand would reach someone like that is because their style goes well with their branding. And obviously me doing a lot of the product photography on my Instagram, I believe that G-Shock could see my style and their brand merging together and having no problem. So even if the brand is really pushing their style into you, no matter what you do, because you're the one who's creating this specialized ad, your style will always be integrated into the video. So the next question comes from Hachin, and he asked, how did you get such smooth shaking shots? What lens did you use? How did you set up your lights? The secret of having that smooth shaking shot is shaking your camera. Okay, I did not shake my camera at all. So when I was making this ad, I wanted to add all the camera movements in post. So I actually had my camera stationary on a tripod. However, when I slapped on these raw footages on DaVinci Resolve 16 and went through all the effects, one of the effects was called, I think, camera shake. And when I slapped that on, I was thinking, oh, this goes so well with the music. So I just used that. And for the lens, I only used one lens, and it's the Canon 100mm 2.8 macro lens. And this is version 1, not version 2. Version 2 comes with the stabilizer built in it, but this one does not. So I use this lens with the polarizer on here because polarizer is a filter that gives you control of how the reflection is gonna look in your image. It's perfect for doing any product photography or videography. So I used a polarizer on this lens, and this lens is a monster. If you're doing any product photography or product commercials, this is the lens that you should go with. Or you can get the version 2, which is even better. So before the shoot, I actually asked my gaffer friend who has a lot of experience on sets, like for commercials, and he told me to use far side key lighting. So far side lighting is when you actually put the lighting on the side of the object or a subject. The reason for using far side lighting is so that you can have a control over the shadows. You can either put a fill or a bounce and give more, lighting to the shadow side, or you could put a negative fill and create even more dramatic shot. Yeah, so some of the DP friends were actually telling me to raise up that aperture, and by giving that bokeh all the time, it could really create that amateur look in the commercial. So they said, unless you have a specific direction, don't use bokeh and actually use a high aperture in all your settings. So that's what I did. And when I did that, I did not have enough light. And 120, if I had the aperture 300D, it might have been enough, but aperture 120D, despite the fact that it's a great light, I did not have enough light. What's really important in the product photography or videography is that you need to make sure that the logo is visible in the commercial ads. And when I was using 120D as a far side lighting, I could not see the logo that's inside or on the surface of these watches. So that's when the Quasar Science came in clutch, and I put it really close and I could dim the light. So what I did was I could dim the light in this way, and it was very, very smooth on the surface. So that's how I did the lighting. So let's talk about the video itself a bit. So one of the biggest challenge I actually had making this ad was how difficult it was to ignore the particles on the product. In most of the product photography or videography, you would get rid of every single dust particles on the product. But however, it kind of worked out with this shoot because, there were particles everywhere and it was just impossible to get it off. But what came in really handy was this squeegee thing to clean off the lenses. If you're shooting on a macro lens, everything that is on the screen is macro scale now. So even the smallest dust particle, I could not just remove it with my hand because of fingerprints. So I used these to blow out all the dust or image that was not necessarily, needed in certain shots. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first video on 2021, and I'm really excited to walk this journey with you guys. So I'm actually doing a giveaway with G-Shock Canada. You can follow my Instagram at DannyOCW. If you go to my Instagram page and can look at all the instructions there, and whoever followed all the instruction, I'll be doing, I'll be using that randomized program and, announcing the winner on the weekend. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. If you like today's content, please smash that like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you won't be missing out on anything. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.